A big question facing young adults planning for their future is, in this economy, is it better to rent or to buy a home? A new analysis from LendingTree shows renting is less expensive than owning a home in all 100 of the largest U.S. metro areas. Researchers say homeowners with a mortgage are paying roughly 37% more money per month than renters. For more, let's bring in the CEO of Rently, Merrick Lackner. Merrick, thanks for joining us. Another new study from the National Association of Realtors shows that home prices increased in 73% of American metro areas during the fourth quarter of last year. It also shows the Midwest has the lowest average home price at $317,000. So how do you look at all those numbers? How do you look at the map? And is the Midwest the place where it's sort of worth it to buy?
Yeah, we're truly in, and thank you for having me, in unprecedented history here. The Department of Housing and Urban Development has noted that if the cost to service a mortgage is more than 30% of gross income, and gross income, the average household income in America is about $83,000. The cost of a home now is $410,000 to $430,000, and homeownership is costing a lot more. So at this time, renting is definitely a route that is becoming more and more palatable for many Americans. And the savings over the course of a year are significant. I mean, $500 a month, but up to $1,500 a month in major markets like San Francisco and elsewhere can save a renter $6,000, $10,000, $20,000, which over time, if renting for several years, could serve as the base for a mortgage payment.
Yeah, that's some significant cash there. America, as we know, affordability, a major crisis for Americans right now nationwide. President Trump raised some eyebrows when he said this about housing prices last week. Take a listen.
I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up for people that own their homes. And they can be assured that's what's going to happen.
Merrick, from a real estate perspective, if housing prices increase, does that increase rents as well? And does it sort of keep people perpetually renting?
Well, what we've seen is that there has historically been a delta between the price to own, at least in recent times, in the last year and 2 years. So the cost of renting is less. But, it's a very interesting dynamic because, the fiscal policies of COVID era stimulus really pushed the housing market up. And now we're in this time where either the market could be allowed to cool, but policymakers don't want that because that has tremendous economic impacts. Alternatively, pricing can continue to rise, but that will just, make that gap even greater. So what it seems like from the outside to me is that we're in this kind of reset period where if we could get wage growth of 4 or 5% to occur for 3, 4, or 5 years, then you actually have the ratio coming back to that 30% level that becomes more affordable. But it's an incredibly tricky balancing act right now, and an incredibly dynamic market.
So say someone does choose to buy a home, assuming that they pay higher mortgage costs over the course of a 30-year mortgage. Once that mortgage is paid off, does that make more financial sense than renting over long term? You've got equity in the home, you own the home at that point?
It really depends on long-term appreciation. I mean, if the appreciation outpaced, then yes. But those are really unknown because we're at this period in time where housing prices are at all-time highs, and there's this opportunity to rent and save money. So it's a very tricky balancing act, and all kinds of different policies are being floated to deal with it. But it does seem at the surface, if somebody can afford a home, the prudent thing for a renter to do is save that money for 4 or 5 years. And if you have some risk tolerance, invest it. And then 4 or 5 years down the road, there will be potentially that opening for affordable purchase.
Home ownership used to be part of the American dream. Is it still?
Well, that's an interesting one. I think it's something that's hotly debated. I mean, the Gen Z and younger generations actually are looking for more mobility anyways. Because that's just how everything is in the digital world with instant gratification. So I think that's something we're going to see. It's in flux. In the 2030s, we could move into a new era where renting is actually preferred. It's certainly a possibility, but there's also a very strong argument to be made that owning a piece of America, owning the property that you reside in, and building equity is tremendously valuable too, because you've got skin in the game, as Scott Bessent said this morning when he was being questioned. So it's a very hot topic and at very interesting times with lots of pundits all kind of hypothesizing and kind of speculating about what could occur. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Merrick Lackner, thank you for your expertise.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.